Hello. Hey everyone. Let me just uh hopefully you all can hear me. Okay. I'm playing around with a new microphone. Okay, the people that's on camera, can you hear me? Yeah, all right, cool, brilliant. All right. So, hi everyone. Welcome. For people that's been here before. Hi again. For new people, I see some new people in the chat. Welcome. This here is what I call the fortnightly fix. So every just for the first couple of minutes, I'm always letting people in. So every 2 weeks, every other week, I go live on a Wednesday where I talk about a particular subject in the world of AI and digital marketing. Don't worry, there's no sales pitch. I've got nothing to sell actually. So there's no sales pitch. So it's just going to be 100% content stuff to learn from. So Paul's got in there early. Where are you from? Where is everyone from? So Paul's in Marbella in Spain. Where's everyone from? Let's hear where you are. I am actually not in Spain today. I am in London. Well, I'm in Mitcham. I'm at my mum's house in Mitcham. Sheila's in London. Whereabouts, Sheila? You got New Jersey in the house. You got Atlanta in the house. You got San Fran. You got Wales. I've just come back from Wales. I was in Cardiff. What's today? Today's Wednesday. So I was in Cardiff on Friday. San Francisco, one of my favorite places ever. Islington, yes, hopefully you're a gunner, Sheila. Northwest, hey Cass. North Wheezy's in the house. East Sussex here. We've got New York, New York City. Eric, I know that you caught up with Chris, I was jealous. You got to catch up with Chris, you and Glenn. Um, Ian, oh, he's 1 hour away. Yeah, in Wales. Yeah, I had a great time. Always have fun in Cardiff. So I was training. In fact, the last time I saw you guys, I've been on this crazy road trip, which is still not finished. So the first thing actually I'd done was I was training some. It was at over Zoom for a Welsh government, so a part of the Welsh government. Then I came to the UK, and then I was training in Leeds, Liverpool, Bristol, and Cardiff. So that was last week, and that was Monday to Friday. On Sunday, I went to Paris, and I was training at Euro Disney on Monday. Came back on Monday night. Tuesday, I was in bed all day just working. And this morning, I went to Birmingham, came back in time for here. So I literally came in, say hi to my mum, had some dinner. I'm up here chatting. So it's been a one very, very busy week. Um, Tomorrow I've actually got a conference. I'm delivering a talk on e-commerce. I'm actually hosting a panel on e-commerce, which I'm doing in Canary Wharf in London tomorrow, and then I am back to Spain on Saturday, and I'll be there for 10 days, and then I'm coming back, and then I'm training at the RAC, and then I'm in Norwich, and then I'm back in Paris, and then I've got a big training with a company called IMG who do a lot of production, and then my training traveling will be finished until, well, I say finished. At the moment in the diary, finished until April. March is just all Zoom stuff. So yes, got a lot on at the moment. So Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah, definitely been one crazy start to the year. But that's good. Take the vitamins, Andrew. You know, I'm on my magnesium. I've got my water. I've been drinking my waters. That in fact, I got two drinking my waters. And then the rest is just for some reason, I don't know why. I'm not really into coffee at the moment. I have no idea why. I just used to love my coffee and I don't know what happened. Just gone off it at the moment. I don't know. Maybe because of the price is like £4.50 now. I think I think the money's put me off coffee. If I'm being honest. So what are we? Yeah, use AI video to duplicate yourself. I'm gonna have to start working on agents and avatars as well to do that. So what I'm gonna be talking about today. What's today about? So this year so far, the first fortnightly fix was all about predictions. And the last one I delivered, which was 2 weeks ago, was all about the story when I was storytelling. So that was just basically breaking down how I structure certain things, and that hero's journey can really help when it comes to for yourself. What I want to talk about today, and I should have done this one last time, I've done the story one today, but what I wanted to talk about today is making sure you've got your tech arsenal in place for 2026. I've always said when it comes to AI, there's three things that we have to master. The first is the prompt. It's not necessarily in any order, but the three things. One of them is the prompt. So if you're going to use ChatGPT, if you're going to use Midjourney, if you're going to use Kling, if you're going to use 11 Labs, whatever AI platform, the prompt is key. What are you going to type into the chat box in order to get an outcome? And the better the prompt, the better the outcome. I've said this multiple times, more in the podcast than or training sessions than I have here. But I talk about the different levels of prompting and I compare it to martial arts. So in martial arts, you've got white belt prompts all the way to black belt. Sorry, you got white belts all the way to black belts. And in AI, is the same. You can have white belt prompts, which will give you very basic stuff. And basic will make people say, that sounded like AI, or AI wrote this. And then you go all the way up to black belt prompts, which means it will sound like you. And to get to that black belt prompts, it's a mixture of testing, trying, and training. So that's the first thing we want to master, and that's the prompt. And we'll do throughout the year more sessions on just prompting. However, I actually think the second part is the most important, and that's your imagination. Really think about it. We've got tools that it's like having weapons in that we've got weapons from 2050 and everyone else has still got like bows and arrows. You know, that's what we've got. We've got access to these weapons. Everyone else has got bows and arrows. But if we don't utilize these weapons, we might as well just have bows and arrows. So how can we utilize these weapons? And that's why the second thing is really important, and that's your imagination. Not many people talk about this. They talk about prompting and prompt engineering, but your imagination dictates the prompt. What you put into these chat boxes, if you want to go up the belt system, your imagination is going to play a very big part. And when I broke down story last week, that was kind of a bit when I talk about going into your imagination. It's a bit more structured, but going into your imagination, because we're at the point in history, and I think this is the first time this has ever happened, where technology is catching up to our ideas. What we can think about with a prompt, we can create. So imagination is key. And I'm going to be doing a lot on imagination this year because I think that's the missing part for a lot of people. You know, the prompting actually is relatively straightforward. It's your imagination. That's where the real skill is. So if you've got prompt, you've got imagination, then you just need to know the tool to use. And this is what I'm going to be talking about today, just tools. So I'm just going to be sharing my screen. Here's some of the tools that I like. And it'd be good to know the tools that you use as well. But I'm not just going to talk about random tools. There's going to be some form of structure to what I'm talking about in tools. The first thing, though, we need to understand is that when it comes to tools, yes, we can pick ChatGPT and 11 Labs and Midjourney and Claude, etc. But there's three things that I think we need to address before we look at what tools to use. So, what are the three things? If you're building a strategy basically says, where am I now? Where do I want to go? And how do I get there? Where I want to go is going to be always your goals and objectives, because that's ultimately your vision. That's what I want to achieve. How you're going to get there is more the tactics. I'm going to use Kling to do blah, blah, blah. But where are you now dictates almost everything. Because you might have a goal to be a millionaire and your strategy and tactics is we're going to make AI videos and we're going to serve ads on it. And with that, we're going to get Google to come and sponsor us and blah, blah, blah. But if where you are right now is I've got zero skill, I've got zero budget, I've got zero time, then the goal and the actual how you're going to do it is not feasible. So one of the key things is we need to know where we are, where are we starting from? And that goes down to your resources. So what resources do you have available? And to keep it very simple, I'm going to break the resources down into three areas. The first is going to be about people and skill set. I love AI videos. And in fact, if you don't know, on Thursdays, myself and Chris Branch, we do what's called AI Live. We go live every Thursday, 4 p.m. And it's like a radio show, but instead of playing music, we play videos. So we're chatting in between, and then we'll just play random videos. And there's a few people in there. Teresa's there. You've got Glenn, it's there, Lawrence, Paul. Like there's quite a few of us, and people like Eric as well, Paul as well. He creates videos or music that we play. So that's what we do. Now, I've openly said this. I don't have that skill set. I wish I did. You know, looking at some of them, I really wish I had that skill set, but I don't. I'm going to practice. I'm going to try. But it's really important to kind of know your skill set. You know what you can and can't do. I know my skill or my experience comes with editing audio. Editing audio, I can do that all day. I worked at the BBC for years, and radio as well, so I can do that all day. But it's really important to kind of know what your skill set is. Videos, if you can't do, for example, videos, you'll end up like AI slop. So you really need to kind of understand how I can build that. If you do have that skill set, amazing. Now, I'm using videos as the example, but that could be coding. And yes, we'll talk about vibe coding, but what I've seen, and I get this all of the time, a question I get a lot, is AI coming for my job? I get that all the time. That and what's it's doing to the environment. In fact, I'm going to do a session on the good, the bad, the ugly. And I'm going to talk about the bad and the ugly in those sessions. But is AI coming for my job? From what I've seen, and this is just one reason, a reason why I think the impact it will have. The best image designers using AI has a background in image design. The best video like production people has a background in video. The best writers that can create amazing writing has a background in writing. The best music producers that creates AI music has a background in music, because they know they know what great looks like. I know what I like to see, but to make it happen, I don't. I'm a white belt, or if you use jujitsu, it goes white, blue, purple, brown, black. I'll be like white to blue in, let's say, video. But some people will be brown to black belt. So they know what great looks like. So when they're prompting, when they're coming up with their imagination, they're not starting from here. So I often say that when it comes to what you're doing, skill set is so, so, so important. What is your skill? Because then it's going to help dictate some of the tools to look at. And also what you want to learn. The second thing when it comes to resources is time. How much time do you have? Because there is a saying that technology is going to save you time. AI is going to save you time. I don't know about you, but I'm busier now than I've ever been. AI hasn't saved me much time, because what happens as humans, we just fill that time with other things to do. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be productive, because we can be busy, not productive. But we will happily, or not happily, easily fill that time. So when it comes to the tools that you want to select, how much time is it going to save you, or how much time will you end up having to use? Because you can easily have 100 tools if you wanted, but are you going to have time to really get the most out of it? And I think in 2026, it's not a case of knowing loads of tools, unless that's part of your job. I think it's a case of selecting a few tools and just going deep in them. Because the reality is, let's say if it was a large language model, and I know some people say Claude is good for this, and ChatGPT is good for that, and Gemini is good for this, which they are. But the reality is, you don't want to be wasting time going from 4 or 5 different models. You just really want to be focusing on one or two and going deep. Because the reality is, if you do those one or two well, if you train the model, if you really improve your prompts and your imagination, those tools are they're all very good. They all can get exactly what you're after. You know, they all can do that. So time is another thing to look at when you're selecting tools. And then the last thing is money. How much money are you prepared to spend? If you want to do it for free, completely fine. You can use these tools. There's a lot of great tools for free. And in fact, what I'm going to be showing you today is going to be free or freemium. But I would say, and I've said this multiple times, this is the last of the golden era. This is the last year that we've got to get our, excuse my language, get our shit together. Because if you don't, it's next year is going to be very, very tough. And the golden era will end when you're going to see ads in the platform, and ChatGPT is already getting people to advertise. We're going to see ads in ChatGPT very soon, which means as soon as money is involved when it comes to these things, you start questioning the results. Because I know, working with agencies and working brand side, if I'm spending and they're saying minimum 200,000, then I'm going to be having conversations with them to say, well, if someone, let's say if I'm selling, I don't know, mobile phones, I would say when someone types something about mobile phones, what can you do in your back end programming to make sure that my phone comes up first in the organic searches, as well as the £1 million ads that I'm spending with you every month? That's just a natural thing that happens, and it happened with search and it happens in social. So that's the first thing where the golden era is going to change. The second thing are rules and regulations. It has to be regulated because it will just go out of control. So when it comes to rules and regulations, it could be seen as a good or a bad thing. Good because you see what happened a couple of weeks ago with Grok doing what it was doing. But the reason I say it could be bad is because who's going to regulate it? You know, do you want your government in America? Do you guys want Trump and all that to govern ChatGPT? In the UK, do we want the Labour government to govern it? They can't even govern themselves, let alone like all of these. And once rules and regulations kick in, so we don't want the government, let's say. So do you want big corporations? Do you want the healthcare industry to govern it? You know, no. Do you want think tanks that are in bed with the corporations and the government anyway? Like, who's going to govern this? Who's going to regulate this? Because what will happen, and in fact, today I was in Birmingham with the Ice Cream Alliance. Every single ice cream maker and ice cream parlor and ice cream van, it was this massive trade show, and I was doing a talk there. I've never seen so much ice cream in my life. It was amazing. But I said to them, if rules and regulations kick in, all of a sudden, certain people might not be able to ask for ice cream because it has a certain amount of sugar content. That's what will happen, just like happens in advertising, just like in the UK on TV, you're not allowed to swear before 9 o'clock. Like, all of these rules and regulations will kick in, and it's going to happen. It has to. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing goes back to what I was talking about, the cost. This is all well and good to do it free, but these companies are hemorrhaging money. Like, they're losing so much money. They're going to want it back.
Yes.
So these are these are some of the things. So I'm just going to mute. These are some of the things to just be aware of when it comes to our resources. So with skill set, time, and money, that's when we can start looking at what are the tools that we can use in order to grow your business or in order to learn AI, etc. And as I said, I would highly recommend just coming up with a few and just going deep in them. So, Summer said, did you see Claude just did an ad having a pop at ChatGPT doing ads? No, I haven't seen that. I'll check that out. I'll check that out, Lawrence. That's funny. Okay, brilliant. That you're gonna get that as well. That's the other thing. These companies, they're just gonna go at each other. I love it. All right, so let's show you some tools. So the first tool, highly would recommend everyone to have some form of large language model. The main one I use, well, ChatGPT is the main one I use. However, I will say this. Right now, I'm paying for 4. Well, no. Let me rephrase that. Right now, I have access to 4 on the premium plans. Pretty much all of them have free plans right now. You have a plan for free, that is zero money, a £20 or $20 a month plan, and then you've got a $200 a month plan. Right now, the ads are going to go on the free plan, but Netflix said this. Next thing you know, you're paying for ads. You're paying for subscription and you're getting ads. And they'll try and tell you, yeah, but they're relevant ads for you. I don't care. I just don't want ads in my like it doesn't matter how relevant. I don't want ads. That's what's going to happen here as well. And I actually think the £20 a month, you're going to start seeing it creeping. I wouldn't be surprised as well that by the end of the year, there's probably a £2,000 a month plan. Reason being is if AI can do what it says it can, and it can at like 5 or 6 different employees, that £2,000 a month one, you could look at and say, this is doing the job of 5 employees that I'll be paying £3,000 a month for each of them. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a really, really high expensive one. So the key, what I would say here, is get used to paying. I'm not saying paying 200 or 2,000. I'm just saying the £20 a month one for all of them. Like just almost like get used to paying that, like you get your mobile phone bill. Because one is worth it, and secondly, soon what you're going to get on the free models is just going to be so like full of ads and like you're going to be limited. I'll just start getting used to it, doing something now. Just to let you know, by the way, I don't own shares in any of these companies I'm going to tell you about. If you're going to pay, there's no affiliate link. There's no put hashtag Andrew at checkout for 20% off. None of that. So I'm not saying it with a bias in mind. I'm saying it just because from speaking to people and just what I think, these are the things to be aware of. Now, so Glory House Studio says Claude for the win. Shell says Gemini for me. We are besties and it has been amazing. If you use Perplexity Pro, you get ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini Pro in all of them. I said I pay for, or I have premium on 4 of them. ChatGPT, which I think I pay about £15-16 a month. Gemini, I pay, but that's part of my workspace. I'm a Google person more than an Outlook person. I pay for Copilot, but that was more because I was training in Copilot. I was training a couple of organizations and I wanted access to it. And then I got Perplexity free for a year. Perplexity actually is, when I have a question, Perplexity is my go-to model. ChatGPT's got it wrong too many times for me. So, but Perplexity is usually spot on. I would say 90% of the time when it comes to questions. When it comes to other things, ChatGPT, because I've trained it. I know ChatGPT. I don't know. I just maybe because it was the first one, it's that affiliation that I have with it. Now, I'm not saying that that's the best one, because I know a lot of people that are a big fan of Claude. Already mentioned it in the chat. Just put in the chat which large language model. 2 things. Which large language model do you use predominantly, and do you pay for it? Just put in the chat. Just say what model, and then just say yes if you pay. So Anita says ChatGPT. Marianne's Claude, yes, pays. Cass, ChatGPT mostly and paid. ChatGPT, yes, I pay. Cool. Chat and paid. Cool. Eric's chat, yes, cool. It looks like pretty much everyone is paying for it, which is great. ChatGPT paid, Perplexity paid, Manus not paid. So Manus is when we start going more in the agent space. Manus unfortunately got bought by Meta. I wasn't happy with that. So Steven said work Copilot personal notebook. Yeah. So Lawrence, I pay for Gemini, Perplexity, both are on sale, but would like Claude. Chat free. Ian, no, get free as a chat. Okay, you get free as a charity. I have a paid version of Perplexity, but I don't use it as much yet. Okay, cool. Teresa, I had Perplexity Pro for free. Go-to tool for questions. Yeah. So it looks like we're pretty much all got one large language model, and the vast majority of us are paying, which is good. And then from there, it's just a case of just doubling down on whatever you want to do, because all of them can do roughly the same. Like, for example, they can all research. Most of them has got some form of coding. Where Gemini and ChatGPT kind of goes into their own is that it's a bit more multimodal. So you can type in a prompt and create an image. You can type in a prompt to get an infographic. You can type in a prompt and then even play around with videos because of the other tools that they have within it. So this is just some of the things to be aware of if you're not using those. But I wouldn't be surprised if Perplexity and Claude, you'll be able to do that soon anyway. Some of them, obviously, Claude is very good at coding. It seems to be the best at coding from a large language model point of view. Obviously, there are tools that we can go to, which I'll show you, that are good for coding as well. But whatever happens, you need a large language model. So that's the key first thing. So Mariana said, anyone know the way to get Perplexity for free in the USA? The reason I got mine free is purely because of PayPal. PayPal was doing a deal where if you, and this was by New Year's, if you signed up for Perplexity, if you've got a PayPal account and you sign up with Perplexity, you can get it Perplexity free for a year. So that's the reason why. So but this wasn't the first time they've done something like this. So just keep an eye on PayPal if you're on PayPal, but there are other ones as well. So that's your large language model. The next tool that I think is really important, actually, before I get into images and videos and audio, it's note takers. I think note takers are really, really imperative if you're working. You know, I have access paid to two, Otter and Fathom. I've never used Otter though. And I see some people's got Otter. I see some people's got Fathom in the chat. Fireflies is in there. There's one called Read. But have a note taker tool like Fathom or Otter or Fireflies or Read. But I will say this. A tool that I've been using a lot recently is called Granola, which is this one. I really, really like this tool. The reason being is because, and if you've listened to my podcast, I'll talk about this quite a lot. But the reason I like this tool is because I can switch this on. As you can see, it's moving here and it's recording, but you don't have to, it doesn't get invited to meetings. So as long as I've got my laptop on and there's some form of sound, I can put Granola on. And I'm just going to stop it now. And what you're going to see is that it's going to transcribe, or it's going to give notes. So you see, fortnightly, AI, digital marketing fix, tech arsenal strategies for 2026. So it's come up with that title, and then it's generating notes. If I click generate notes, and it's going to start building the framework, prompting, imagination tools will probably be next. There you go. Tools, the resource, skill set. So it'll probably talk about time and money, our budget considerations. So it's just breaking it all down with everything that I've said so far. Now, obviously, I've stopped it, but now I can start asking it questions. I can also get it to, I can go in and just add my own notes. Something like blah, blah, blah. So I can add my own notes within that as well. Also, what it does is that you can do these things called recipes. So if you, let's say, for example, you see a particular style that someone takes notes and you like the way they take notes, you can take that framework and just apply it to your notes. And what I'm doing is free as well. It's called Granola AI, and it is a really good tool. The only thing on the free plan that's unfortunate is that after 2 weeks, it removes. So if you want to keep it more than 2 weeks, then you have to pay. What I tend to do is I take the information and then I move it across to Apple Notes, because that's my notebook. I know some of you might use Notion, some of you might use Evernote, but I use Apple Notes and I just move it across. But you need, having a note taker tool is really, really good. Teresa, I take my own notes. I don't want all that info. Also, where does the notes? Yeah. So I always, as well, I've always got my pen and paper. Even though I might have Fathom, I might have Granola playing, I always take my own notes. Also, where do the notes live? Again, great point. If you look at the terms and conditions of these tools, they'll just say that your notes are safe, it's encrypted and blah, blah, blah. And what you can do, if you really want to double check, go to their terms and conditions page, copy, paste it into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and then just ask it questions. Where does my notes go? How safe are they? Blah, blah, blah. And then it can do it that way. So that's probably the best way to kind of work out what they do with the notes. Where do they live? It will obviously live on their servers, but how secure are their servers really? That's the thing to be able to look at. So a note taker. And then another tool to look at would be what's going to be your image tool. So again, this is might apply to some of you, it might not. Because I do a lot of presentations, I have an image tool. So if I've got something, this is the one that's from today. You've got a particular look. So this is obviously I was at the ice cream company, so I have ice cream like that. But you've probably seen this style that I've had multiple times. But because it was for the ice cream company or the ice cream industry, you had little ice creams. So I've done this. I have a particular style that I like, and then I adapt it depending on who I'm training. So if I'm training the ice cream organization, ice creams will be involved. If I'm training FIFA, it will be more football theme. If I'm training, I'm trying to think who have I trained recently? The Hilton. So I was training the Hilton B2B global sales team. It will be more of like business. It will look more like slightly more professional business like people. So depending on who I'm training, it will change, but I always have a particular style. So what I use, my tool of choice is Midjourney. I pay, oh, you might as well see here. I pay yearly. So I've got a year. I'm on the basic plan yearly. Um, December 9th, 2026 is when I go back to $8 a month. So that's what it is monthly. But I paid for the year, so you get a little bit of a discount. But yeah, obviously I paid the December 9th, 2025 for it. It's all I need, really. I'm not someone that's massive on images. I mainly use images for um, presentations. And because I do a lot of presentations, that's when I do it. If you're, let's say, video editing, and the way AI videos work, a lot of it is you're using images as a start frame or as an end frame. That's something you'll probably use it a lot for. However, if you want a free one, Gemini Nano Banana. So this is what was mentioned earlier on, I think by Glory House. Talked about the Banana One, Nano Banana, which is here. So this is just Gemini, normal Gemini. As you can see on this account, I'm not paying for. But if you just go create image, and then you can just create an image, whatever it is, a retro film poster, whatever it is. However, Nano Banana got a lot of attention when it first came out because it was the best editing image image generator and editor. But I actually think ChatGPT is better. I don't know why. I just feel I get better images on ChatGPT. So I'm just trying to copy this. Okay. If I go back to ChatGPT and I go here and I go, what was that? Create an image of a retro film poster. So if I go, create an image of a retro film poster. And then I go here. I don't know why. For me, I just like it better. So Anita said Nano Banana is easier to edit versus Midjourney, but Midjourney, yeah. So all my images I use in AI videos are done in ChatGPT, yeah. So the first bit where Anita said Nano Banana is easier to edit. This is where for me I really like the image generators because image generators, like video generators, they kind of split in two now. It's the quality and then the editing. So when it comes to here, I might just say, can you change the name of the film to radio waves or something like that? I don't know why that. And then it will just change that. And again, if I go to ChatGPT and you look at what it created, it's like a film poster, but then that's pretty good actually. It's like James Bond. And then you might just say something like, can you add a title called The Man with the Plan? Or something like that. So then what will happen, it will obviously make something. Mid-Journey, where is Mid-Journey? As I said, Mid-Journey, again, if you go into create, this is how you can look for things. As you can see, I was working on certain things. But what I like about them is they've got this explore. So if you've got a particular style, so for example, if I like this image here, what I can do is, and this is the main reason why I like it. So this person wrote, this was the prompt to get that effect. Now, if I like that effect, I can obviously just copy and paste the prompt and make changes wherever I want. The other thing as well is I can use this as a style. So if I clicked here where it says style, and then I just said something like a woman with ginger hair wearing a red top. What's going to happen is that it's going to create in, I didn't change the size. So if you go settings, this is where you can play around with the size, whatever you want. I just keep mine at 16:9 just because of when I'm doing slideshows. But if I was doing for social media, I might make it square or depending on what I'm doing. What you're seeing is that it's going to create it in that particular style. As you can see, it's got that thingy effect. Well, if I just click on that, it's got that stripy effect on, not across it all, but it's got that stripy effect that I don't even know what this style's called. This one, not so much, but the other three, you've kind of got it. So you can create a whole style. What I would recommend, though, is that if you're a designer and you've created your own original style, this is the way that you can do things like quicker. You know, once you've got that style, or it might be a color palette, whatever it may be, because you can obviously create your own style, then you can just get that, use it as a, what's called stylization. So you click add an image, you select the styles that you like or what you want, and then you can upload and do it that way. Yeah, you in Anita said you can mix styles as well. So Cass said I use ideogram, but not weeded to it, so it will be open to trying others. It's mainly for presentation decks. Ideogram is very good for text. That's what I like. I used to pay for Ideogram. They do good Black Friday deals, by the way. So obviously we have to wait almost a year, but they do good Black Friday deals. Ideogram was the one I used to use all of the time for text, but for me, ChatGPT is just caught up, and Midjourney is the best for stylization. So that's the reason why. But Ideogram is a good, it's got a good free plan as well. So Shell never tried Midjourney, keep forgetting. Midjourney is kind of like the main image generator tool. That's what most people, like designers, kind of, that's where they kind of go to. Is ChatGPT image creation any different from Copilots? I find their relationship, yeah, very good point, Lawrence. I don't really get it either. And also with Copilot, what I've noticed, depending on sometimes the day, images work for me, and then sometimes it doesn't. You know, and this is the thing I really don't get about Copilot. It changes too much. Sometimes I can do live changes in Excel, and then next thing it says it doesn't work. And yeah, I don't really know. That's the one. That's the thing that I don't really like about Copilot. It was just so inconsistent. Maybe it was just me, but it was just really inconsistent. And it's powered by ChatGPT. So yeah, that's the, I don't really get it. But what you can do in Microsoft, they do have a free image generator, just like Facebook has. So if you want to use Facebook, you can just go meta.ai, and this takes you to their image generator. It's called Vibes, where you can do videos or images, and you can obviously just log in and do all that. If you've got a Facebook account, then you can just log in and do that. You can also use Grok. Again, I don't want to Grok Imagine. So I know some people might not like Grok because of who's behind it, but as a tool, it's pretty good. I have to admit, it is a pretty good tool. So that's Grok's one, and they've got very good image. You can create good, very good images and video as well. Now, another reason why I like these, here you go, the man with the plan. That looks like a pretty good poster. I don't know. I just like ChatGPT's one when it comes to editing as well. The other thing as well, ChatGPT and Nano Banana, I think, are very good at infographics. So if you just want to explain something, they're very good at infographics. So you just start it, create an infographic that, or you can upload an infographic and say, in this particular style, create an infographic that covers blah, blah, blah. They're really good actually. And what you'll find is that if there's a lot of text on it, they might not get it 100% right, but then you can just go back and edit the text. So you want to have some form of image generator as well, because you never know when you need it. If you don't use it that often, the free stuff is good. Or if you've got a ChatGPT or Nano Banana, just use their one. The next tool, videos. Now, what I've found is that videos is something that a lot of people like, but not many people use. Because it's like, what's the use case of doing videos for, let's say, if I'm at work? If you're creating videos, then Kling is really good. And Kling 3.0 came out, I think it was today, because I started seeing videos come out today. And there's one guy who's really, really good at creating videos. In fact, we're probably going to be playing it tomorrow at the show. So if you want to find out more about videos, come check us out tomorrow, 4 p.m. on LinkedIn. But his name's called Dave. He's one of the top guys, Dave Clark. And he's just created a video using, I don't know how he's created a film already if it only came out at like 5 hours ago and he's already created a film. But yeah, that's come out. So that's Kling 3.0. You can use Grok as well if you want more of the 8-second clips. Gemini, you can create videos as well. So if you just go back to a new chat in Gemini, you can always go to tools and no. Oh, there is a way to do it. I think you might have to say create a video that does this, or you have to access it via another area, which might be AI Studios, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Meta Vibes, as I said, that's where you can create videos as well on Meta Vibes or Meta AI. You can do videos there. Then you've got other ones which will be for the likes of Runway. So here's are the videos that you can create on Meta, and these are all free. So you can play around and see what type of videos you like. Then you've got sites a bit more, again, if you're more into videos, the likes of Runway, the likes of Minimax, the likes of Google's VO, I think they're on VO 3.1 or 3.2. But that's more if you're into videos and there's a cost, and that cost could go high. What I do with video is I use curation sites. So sites like Higgsfield or sites like FreePick. So if I just log into FreePick, what I've got here is if I wanted to do video generator, I click on the video I want to create, and then it asks what model I want to use. So I might say I might use Kling, or I might use Google, or I might use Seedance. Seedance is pretty good, actually. So you select what model you want to use. So rather than paying a subscription for all three of these, it will select, you can select which one. Now, this is based off of a credit system. So I can't remember how much credits I have for the month, but you have a certain amount of credits. And if you're going to use Kling, it's going to cost you between 150, 750, depending on what you're going to do. Google's is more expensive. As you see, it's 2,400. And then Seedance, depending on what you're doing, could be really cheap or really expensive. But I would recommend, if you're not heavily into video, to use some form of curator tool, like a FreePick. There's one called Clio or Creo. Higgsfield is another one that I've paid for, which has access to loads of different tools as well as their own one. And I think this is what you're going to see a lot more with videos. I think you're going to have, it's almost different layers. The top people will focus on one or two tools, but they'll be using Adobe Premiere as well as other After Effects tools. Then you're going to get the mid layer that will go into the likes of FreePick, and they'll just select multiple tools depending on what they want to do. And then you're going to get the lower layer, which will use Grok and Meta AI. And that's, or Sora as well. I'll throw that in, which is ChatGPT's one, which then kind of gets into, dare I say, AI slop. But videos like these, which is, wow, it's amazing it can do that, but so what? After a while, you're like, okay, this is great, but why? So let me quickly go to some of these questions. So Glory House, they gave people a lot of early access. Video free came out this week, and it's better than Sora 2. Yeah, so that's another one. Meta Vibes is Mid Journey. Yeah. So it's populated by Mid Journey, but it doesn't do everything Mid Journey has. You know, you can use it as the free version, but if you've got $8 a month and you're using images a lot, I would just go to Mid Journey. Shell, Canva, although better with images than video, and again, have a charity program. So what you find with Canva owns a company called Leonardo, and Leonardo is a really good image generator. So they own that. So they bought it over a year ago, and they're slowly putting it more into Canva. So Canva, once they get their stuff together, it will be a really good image generator. But right now, I see people use Canva more for editing than anything else. So Paul said, I was using Video Free for a long time for free. Now they are charging. Yeah, I now use Google Flow for free. So that's a good tool. Anyone who want to check that out, Google Flow. Is that available in Spain, or is that VPN, Paul? Because I know that you couldn't use certain things before. So Lawrence said, why do you have both Higgsfield and Free Pick? What do you prefer? You know, I was saying earlier on, Lawrence, that you should sort out where you are first. I just got excited to start buying everything. It's like I bought Free Pick and it was on this deal. And then on Black Friday, I went and bought Higgsfield. And honestly, I don't use either of them. If I'm being honest, I don't use either of them. So I can't really answer that question properly because I don't use them. I just have access to them that I've paid for. But going back to why I say time is important. If I had time, I would start using it a lot more. I probably would use, to be honest, they're pretty much the same because they've got the same models. Probably Higgsfield, just because I like some of the Higgsfield's own stuff within it. So, because Higgsfield's got its own video editor, plus it has video editor and generator, plus it has access to a whole bunch of others. So that's probably why. But yeah, like I said, it's if I could go back, I wouldn't have got either of them, if I'm being honest, because I don't use it that much. Yeah, Teresa, Imagine Art gave 100 free credits per month and has many models. That's another one to use. Need to be careful of free models. I've just rolled out an AI usage policy for our charity. Recommend paid models. Interesting, Stephen. Again, this is why I say with most things, start getting used to paying just because of certain things. So this is in Spain. Okay, cool. That's what Paul said. I have issues generating children, which is okay. Children, you're always going to have issues with because as soon as you start writing the word child or children and things like that, you're always going to have an issue. What I've managed to do in Midjourney, I can do it on Midjourney, and then with Midjourney, what you can do is once you've got this, an image, let's say of a child, I can just click animate. Now I could go in the options and tell it what to do, but what Midjourney can do is also a video platform, so it can animate as well. If I show you anything which I've got a child in, Midjourney is pretty good because I've actually said the word children, but I do it more for there you go. A man talking to kids at an ice cream parlor. He's holding up a sign with a number. So I've said that, and it's not a problem. But it's different between doing an image with a particular style and a video with children. So that might be an issue. You can get children in the Chinese. Yeah, a lot of the Chinese models are a bit more open. So you can then start even using people like celebrity faces within that, and it doesn't stop a lot of them. So we've spoken about a large language model tool. As I said, it's not a case of I wouldn't recommend trying to have 3 or 4. I would recommend having 1, maybe 2, and just getting to know everything, because ChatGPT in February 2025 is not the same ChatGPT in February 2026. It's included a lot more. And what you're going to see with all the large language models, they're all going to be pretty much multimodal like beasts. Same as images, same as video. They're all going to eventually be roughly the same. It's just the quality might be different in some other things. So select one or two and just deep dive. Get to know it a lot better. Um, because as I said, you don't want to be chasing loads of different ones or paying money for things and you're not going to use. So to me, that's just a waste of time. And as I said, one of the key things this year's going to go by really quick. I always find years with that end in an even number go by quicker than years that end in an odd number. And that doesn't make any sense, but I don't know why. I just find that. So this year's going to go by super quick. Next thing you know, ads are involved in everything, regulations are, and then all the things that we can do now, we won't be able to do. So that's why I say just pick one, do your research, and then just really get to know it. Now, other tools you might want to have is some form of coding tool. If there were two areas that I could just focus on, if I was not going to speak to anybody for a month and all I had to do is just focus on two things, I'll be focusing on vibe coding and videos. They will be the things that I'll be focusing on. I just see it. Well, vibe coding, I just see going through the roof because now we're starting to get into the world of AI agents. And I'm not going to talk about Maltbot and all of these other things that you might have heard recently. But what you're going to see here is if you can get some form of coding, and I think it was October or November, I done a whole session on vibe coding, and I was breaking down the difference between AI agents, workflows, and large language models. And I was talking about vibe coding within that. That is an area that I would double down on this year. When it comes to vibe coding AI agents, the best free one is AI Studio by Google. There might be some other ones. Honestly, I wouldn't even bother with them right now. There might be something that just comes out of the blue, like that might just come out of nowhere. But honestly, AI Studio by Google is by far the best one for free. Where it goes into build, and this is where you can start. So I would just really just focus on this one. A lot of tutorials out there, a lot of YouTube videos, and I would do that. Then if you want to pay, because the thing with AI Studios is it's like you've built something in your room. So if it's in your room, only you can use it. But if you wanted to let other people use it, you have to unplug it, take it out your room, and put it somewhere else, which means that's where you start deploying. And if you start deploying, that's where the cost comes into it. But if you're going to pay, yeah, you can do it that way. But there are other options that you can do. I'm going to have to charge my laptop, which means I'm going to have to switch my microphone off because typical Macs, actually, no, I can't. Because typical Macs and certain things, you can only do one thing at a time. So I'm going to switch my microphone to my computer mic. So I don't know if you can hear the difference, but now I'm on my computer microphone. Okay, I got one of these things like these YouTubers. I saw these YouTubers doing it, and because I'm traveling, I thought, let me do that. Next thing you know, you see me with a pink light in the background. That's when you know I've been compromised. You see pink lights in the background and all of that. So yeah, you want a vibe coding tool. So free one, AI Studio, amazing. You can create multiple things like games of Tetris and all of these things, whatever you want, pretty much. Now, if you want to do a paid for one, the one that I use and the one that was mentioned earlier is Manus. That is one of my favorite tools, Manus. That tool is paid, but as long as you can code, because vibe coding essentially is using natural language to build an app. As long as you can code, Manus can do a lot of the rest of it. However, again, very quickly summarizing this, don't code within Manus. Get as much done in a large language model and then copy and paste it across. And then Manus might ask certain things. So when you break down vibe coding, there's 3 P's that I call it. Plan, use large language models. Get the prototype. Sorry, plan, prompt, So you plan, and then after the plan, you get the prompt, and then the prompt, you move it across to the agent, and then you get your prototype. Don't be planning in the agent because that could cost you credits. And what you don't want to do is, let's say, for example, you've got 10,000 credits and you're halfway through coding something and that's cost you 10,000 credits. Do you spend more to finish it or do you just leave it? And most of the time, you're seeing people spending that time going back and forth. If you can use the large language models to come up with a really good plan and then create a really good prompt, it's just going to save you money. So you can do sites like Manus, and what Manus can do, you can deploy it as well. So if you want it to make it go live, you can do it. So for example, I think I showed you this one before. This is just a shadow boxing one that I've got that anyone can use. And it's just like a reaction timer. So, but this is just very, very quick, but I put together. But this is live. Like I can share this with you and you guys can use it. Where the stuff in AI Studios, you can't. Then you go into other tools like N8N or Make or other ones which are AI agent stroke workflows as well. Again, there's a cost, but if that's something you want to get into, I would say the main three right now, N8N, likable or lovable, sorry, lovable, and make.com. I don't know if it's make.com or make.ai. It is, yeah, make.com, AI automation, etc. Now, I'm not going to have time to even start touching on how to do things like these, but these are workflows that you can create. And what I mean by that is, if I show you images, it will look something like this. So you do this, the AI agent will create a script, it will create a video, and it will send it to here, and then you start seeing, in fact, things like this. You might have seen things like this before. This is what's called a workflow. So this has to happen, and then this happens, and when this happens, do this or this, and if it does this, this happens. So you're just basically creating a workflow. This is more advanced stuff, but definitely with you guys, I want to be definitely towards the second part of the year. We want to be a lot more of these things. Um, I want to show you a lot more how to build these things because they're going to be like very, very handy for you. Then, yes, you can have an audio tool, but again, the question is how often do you use audio? Again, that's up to you. My tool that I use the most is this one here called Whisper, and that is a voice dictation tool. It just I can just type things quicker. So if I wanted to do something here, all I would do is I'll click on, I've set up a shortcut, and from now on, I'm just going to write. And this is my favorite tool. And it's my favorite tool because of three things. One, it makes me type faster. Two, it makes me be more productive. And three, because I suffer from repetitive strain injury, it takes the pressure off my hands and the nerves in my fingers. So as you can see, it's done that. It's the reason why it's red is because it's defaulted on the United States. But it knows I'm from the UK. So it's got the English or the UK version of favorite. Even if, when I said one, two, three, it put it in bullet points. And then it just does little things, which is really helpful. And I've had RSI for 60,008. So I've been using these tools for God knows how many years. But it does things like this. Right now, my favorite social media platform is Instagram. I mean, YouTube. So right there, I made the mistake saying Instagram and it just realized I made the mistake and then it just said YouTube. So this is a tool that, and you can do a lot more, but this is a tool that I would have in my tech arsenal if I was you. You can do a lot for free, but again, this is more to do if you want to save time when it comes to productive stuff. Because what you're going to find is that once you've got your tool, your large language model, once you've got your image tool, once you've got your note taker tool, once you might have a video tool, then it's just going to be other. And within other, that's where you might have a whisper or you might have some of the coding tools because not everyone's going to want these. The last thing I'll say, because it's 8 o'clock now, a lot of the tools that you use already, like Dropbox or Google Workspace or Outlook, they're all going to have AI. They have AI in it now, but they're all going to have a lot more AI over the year. So keep an eye on that as well. Because sometimes you might go for, let's say, a note taker, but Zoom has a great note taker instead. So I'll just use that one. Or you might go for something else in Dropbox, but Dropbox actually has its own large language model within that. So you might use that version. So just keep an eye out on tools that you might use already because you're used to them, or you might pay for already because they're going to have some form of large language, well, some form of AI within that, which might save you time. Because as I said, 2026 is not a year to go like loads of tools. Really, it's a year to just have a few, focus, and go deep. Because that's what's going to get you far going into 2027. Because once you kind of understand, and the same as social media, once you kind of have a really good understanding of, let's say, ChatGPT, it's a lot easier to then swap to Claude if you've got a real good understanding of a large language model. But if you're trying to go for 4 or 5 of them, you're not going to have a really good understanding of all of them, like because your time is spread out. So you won't you're just doing surface level stuff across 5 things rather than just doing one really well. And if you want to go to a second one, you know what good looks like, and you can just move it across there. So let's see some of the questions that you have, and then um, we'll call it a day. So Stephen said, don't know much about vibe coding. Stephen, I might do another episode on that. So I've done a whole episode on that a few months ago. And it got a lot of good feedback actually. So I might do another episode on like a session on that. In fact, not I might, I will, and I'm gonna do more than one. I'm actually might take you through a series of things to look at to focus on. The computer sound not too bad. Oh, that's good. That's good. Anita, is there a way to get vibe coding for images? For example, make an image and get AI to generate a character sheet with all angles of the talent. Um, I don't know if you can do that, but I don't know if that's you put that under vibe coding. For example, make an image and get AI to generate a character sheet with all the angles of the talent that are consistent. Can't you do that anyway without vibe coding? You don't necessarily need like an app for that.
You
Or
know, Andrew, I have actually tried, and sometimes depending on the model, the character has not been completely consistent.
Hmm,
So that's why I was thinking maybe like say if I generated an image in Midjourney that I could put it in like an app or something and have it, create all the angles, like complete
sure,
character turnaround sheet. Because I even tried in Midjourney and I had
still
an
work.
issue with it. Yeah, it didn't create a, or maybe I'm not prompting as well as I should
Yeah.
yet. So, but
Um, Mate, what you might be able to do is because the thing is, what you don't want to do is, well, you can, depending on the amount of money you've got, you can test it with that, but you're gonna have to be spending a lot of money on testing. What you can do if you use AI Studios gives you access to Google stuff as well. So with AI Studio, you can select Nano Banana and it gives you access to Nano Banana images within your app, and you could try it that way. The other thing I would say though is this. The reason why I say go select a few and then go deep is because, as I said, ChatGPT today is not going to be the ChatGPT in a year's time. So you might not be able to do certain things today, but in a year's time you might be. But what you want to be able to do is know what you want today, because and try it. And if it doesn't work, try it again. If it doesn't work, you might wait a bit and then try it later on when the technology catches up finally. What you don't want to do is not try it, because that means you're going to be spending time and trying it when you've already tried it here. So once it's there, you can just do it quite quickly. So these are all of the things. Again, this is just from my experience working in digital since 2001. That's going to help save you time. And it's just a cycle. And what I'm seeing in this AI cycle is the same thing I saw in the social media cycle, which was the same things that I'm seeing in the search and AdWords cycle. Like it's just the same thing over and over again. And these are the little things that you can do. Um, so Teresa said, Nano Pro can help you with that. Yeah, so it might be you can try Nano Banana and try that. Shell, thank you. It's been good to be back. Oh yeah, apologies for not muting. Still with Mum at hospital. Hope she feels better, Shell. Eric, you can ask chat everything it knows about you. Yeah. I put that in what so on my podcast I do certain episodes I do called prompts, and I've asked that prompt as well, everything you know about me, because it shows you how good your training is. And then Eric says get the result and bring that into another large language model, and then that large language model knows about what you like. And that's a great way to do it, and that's what I've done with Perplexity as well. So Perplexity is kind of trained on me as well. So Lawrence, do you see Claudebot Maltbot playing out with security? Right. Claudebot Maltbot. This is what everyone's talking about at the moment. If you don't know, somebody has created this form of technology, and other people are now creating things off the back of that, where it's like AI agents on steroids, and you have to download it to your computer, and then it's stored on your computer, and then you can do multiple things with it. Honestly, I've not tried it because what puts me off is the amount of security issues that I'm hearing people are going through. Like people are buying computers, like a separate computer to try it on. Apparently, if it works, it goes amazing. And feel free to do some more research on Claudebot, Maltbot, because there's a lot of people talking about it. But the main thing they're talking about, I think it was Maltbot, which is like a Reddit system where AI agents are talking to each other. And then humans are kind of just watching the conversations, but it's AI is talking to other AIs in like a Reddit style fashion. So Lawrence said, have you tried it? No, I am too scared. Yeah, I'm the same, Lawrence. I just don't trust it, and I don't know. For me, I just look at it like I don't really. I need to know about it, and I do know about it, but I don't need to try it because I don't know what I want to use it for. If that makes sense. So how do we submit videos for live? You know what, Glory House Studios, tune in tomorrow. If you haven't heard our thing tomorrow at 4 o'clock, me and Chris or Chris and I have been talking about putting together a website for people to upload videos for God knows how long. But right now, just send it to Creative Eyes' LinkedIn. The Creative Eyes, if you don't know, send it to the LinkedIn there, and then again, we'll look at it. What's happening now is that we're getting so many like people sending stuff in, which is great. But so sometimes if it's not this week, it might be next week or it might be the week after, because sometimes there could be like 50, 60 videos that we've got already lined up. Really, we should kind of do it twice a week, but we just don't have the time. Paul, when I design a character, I train ChatGPT to know its name and description. Yeah, as long as it is a unique name, it will. Yeah, that's a great use, because you can just say use or create and then whatever the character's name is. Um, that's a great way to bring that. I might try that one as well. Thanks, Paul. I'll try that one. Yeah, the AI Multibot is quite interesting. I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna probably research it a bit more just to try and find out a bit more about it. And then I might do a podcast episode about it. I probably won't do a fortnightly fix about it just yet, because I don't really think it's something that we want to kind of mess around with just yet. I just think there's other things that we can do. But maybe if it blows up, or that type of thing blows up, I can do it later on in the year. Chat gave me his name and image, and he called himself Alex. That's a good name. It's my girlfriend's name, or Alexandra. You can use Malt and Clawbot on websites now and not on your computer. Ah, okay. That's interesting. You can do it on your websites now. Again, that means how safe is it still? Still going to have a whole bunch of privacy issues. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go. I am going to spend some time with my mother, because we're watching a show on Netflix called, with Claire Danes. The Beast Within, I think it's called, or something. The Beast in You, or something like that. Don't know if anyone's seen it. It's really good. It's good. Yeah, it's pretty good at the moment. I'm watching it. So I'm going to do that. Let us know. So if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. And it's Andrew M. Davis. So Andrew Miles Davis, but M for Davis, and Davis spelled Davis. And let us know what episodes you want, or what you want me to cover for an hour or so. Because I've got so many different things. Um, but I'm always like, what should I talk about this week, or what should I talk about next week? But ultimately, the whole point of this fortnightly fix is how you can use AI to grow your business. That's pretty much it. And outside of your business, obviously, other things. That's pretty much it. And if it's what tools to use, if it's to tell a better story for target audiences, if it's to understand vibe coding, anything like that, just let us know. Um, where you said cover cling free, that will be in the AI video ones. Any video stuff will be in that podcast. That's a 2 hour one. So anything outside of video, really, it will be in this one. Need some AI training for my organization. Just let us know, Steve, or Stephen. Just let us know, and I'm more than happy to help. All right, then, guys, have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you either tomorrow on my podcast, in my WhatsApp group, which you can all get on my website, andrewmilesdavis.com, or in 2 weeks' time. So there.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Good evening. Night, Andrew. Thank you.
Night, night. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks,
Bye
Andrew.
bye.
See you tomorrow.
See you
See you
guys tomorrow.
tomorrow.